Okay, that's the top of the hour. We will get going. Um, so my plan tonight is to go through and see about just getting caught up on material design again. I think there's only a few items that I'm looking to get in for the next release, and I may punt a few of them. And I was going to go back and take a little bit more of a look at that chip outline radio button style that's problematic with the theming, just to see what we can come up with for solutions. So, I remember my hotkeys. Oh, I can do hotkeys. He remembers his hotkeys. This is going to be a good night. I can see it now. Um, so, on all of these, there were a couple of them in particular. So, this guy and this guy, I think, were two that I wanted to take a quick look at because I believe these are at least this one is a bug with some of the stuff coming in the latest version. So specifically around this issue here, right? So this came up, and I'm going to throw this into the milestone too. This came up on the Gitter chat, specifically around the auto of trying to figure out, do we inline the button or do we not? And the measurement that we were using initially was based on the material design tolerance of, I want to say 48, 49, something like that. But there's a couple small issues with this. The first one that I noticed is it's somewhat font dependent, which is really unfortunate. The material design stuff is very prescriptive, and this, I think, is one of those cases where we need to be a little bit more generous for people who are maybe not always following it as strictly as possible. So you technically can go through, there's a workaround with this because there's an attached property. Yeah, so 48 was the minimum. Let's see here, boom, boom. And then Oliver, let's see. Yeah, so he went through and bumped it up and changed it up to 55. So I think we're going to leave a quote. Alt. So we'll just throw a comment there, and I believe this change is just as simple as that, right? So there's an attached property here for the inline action button max height. So basically, once you exceed this max height, it's going to assume that if you've got your snack bar set to auto, that it needs to drop that button down. And so really this is just where that's coming from. This is changing here. This is changing here. So the content max height. This is being set explicitly on the property rather than in the style. Don't know if I have a strong preference. Regardless, easy approve. Sometimes I prefer the style, but in this case it's one of those I would really hate for the thing to just default to 0. So having a better default in there is probably better. Some people like to define constants rather than just inlining the static value or the constant value right on the dependency property. I don't care. I think it makes perfect sense. Let's see, this guy did get put in the milestone. Great. Boom, boom. 2 easy wins. And I think this one is just a change to, yeah, I think I accidentally caused this one, Oliver, so my apologies. I believe this was caused when I was helping out on another PR and I pushed some changes and I whacked the design model instance and then forgot to clean up after myself. So I think I may have even done that last week on stream. Nobody go back and recall my mistakes. So again, easy change. This view model doesn't exist. And milestone in, squash merge, and away we go. Okay, if I'm not mistaken, I think that probably gets this milestone about as close as it needs to. I may end up once again punting some of these things. I'd love to go through and fix some of them, but honestly, these there's enough stuff outstanding that I think it might be worth just getting it done. Sorry, I got people sending me messages. Note to self: turn off your IM clients before streaming. Okay, so I think what I want to do is take a look at this pull request here. Let's see, are any of these things inherently? Metal Slug, if there's anything in here that you think needs to make it into the release, let me know, or any of these that you're really hoping that we do. Let's take a look at this. Combo box drop down on edit. Let's see here. Let's look at this. What is this? It means data grid ones are always appreciated. Okay, so I assume this one here. Let's take a look at this, because I do want to try and kick this release. I might even just do it tonight. Is that too crazy? Is that crazy? It might be crazy. I might just kick it. Yeah, so those ones I'm not too concerned if I punt them again. When the combo box edited through cancel or commit, drop down is closed. Okay, so that makes sense. What is the... So this is the data grid combo box. Data grid text foreground issue. Do you have an issue number for that one? Which, for some reason I thought we had fixed the one I was aware of. There's a text alignment one. Oh, this one. This one is what you're saying. 1816, yeah. Ooh. Well, let's just fix that. We might take a look at that one tonight then, because apparently there's no PR for this. Okay, so I can agree with that. Commit cell edit. This looks like another easy approve for me. So let's see here. This guy's going to get punted into the milestone. And let's see. Squash merge, squash merge. Let's look at 1817 real quick. And punch you over into the milestone. There we go. Okay, so this guy here. Using cell selection mode, when a cell is marked as the current cell and you move your mouse cursor over the cell, the text foreground will disappear. That sounds bad. I would agree. So, now that I've done all of this squash merging, let's pull up on master and make sure it reproduces real quick. Yeah. And then we're going to take a look at that. So, in the interest of making things really hard, I might need to check this. This seems like there might be, I'm going to just, once again, I'm just going to unload this. You'll note that I've gotten crazy and I've pulled down the preview version of Visual Studio 2019 because why not, right? We did it for the source generator stuff 2 weeks ago, last week, something like that. Yeah, last week, and then it was like Monday that I did an ad hoc stream. So we're going to try it out here because I know the Visual Studio team likes getting feedback if there's problems, so we're going to see if there's problems. Let's see if I can make that notification go away on this machine. Make it go across. Okay, so unable to set startup project. Well, that doesn't seem right. Last I checked, this was a startup project. Okay, that seems weird, but whatever. Okay, so let's check the reproduction steps. So we've got a sample here, which is fine, but I'm going to test it right in ours just to see if it's that easy. Cell selection mode, a cell is marked, so I just need to change selection mode. That seems simple. Grids. Yeah, that one I think. Boom. So data grid. Yeah, I didn't try it in row selection mode. Okay. That seems fair. Well, let's just try it then real quick and see what is going on. Because maybe it reproduces really easily. Oh, Yeah, so that that was remarkably easy to reproduce. Oh boy, boy, oh boy, oh boy. This is one of the reasons why I really want to spend some time. I got to get Mike back on this stream again and do some UI testing. Because these are the types of things I would love to have UI tests for, so that we catch these at pull request submission time. I don't know if I'd force all pull requests to it, maybe on a nightly build or something. Okay, so regardless, let's figure out what is going on here. Let's see, I think I start with Snoop. I think that's probably the easiest. Oh, thank you, YouTube. I just got an email notification telling me that I am now live. Is it really necessary to email me and tell me that? I'm pretty sure I know that. I hope I know that. If I don't know that, I've got a different problem. Okay, so let's just take a quick look and see here. So hot reload available. I know. You really want me to try the hot reload, and I really want to play with it. We'll get to it. Okay, so you go away, and I think what we're looking for is foreground, and I'm pretty sure if I do, let's see, focus, boom. So that gets inherited. Just going to keep walking up the food chain. Let's go all the way to the cell. Oh, that's interesting. So it's not changing at the cell, it's inside of it. And requires keyboard focus, because I'm noticing if I click off, the problem goes away. So it's going to be a trigger with keyboard focus, something at, just to make sure I'm not crazy and have lost my, no, it is happening at the cell. So the thing that I'm noticing, right, so if I look at the data grid cell, I can see that this black color is coming from a default style trigger. And then style trigger. So I'm looking for a style trigger on a data grid cell pointed at foreground. That's pretty narrow area to look. So data grid, that's main demo. Combo box, that one. Very last thing in my list. Okay, so we might even just start with the easy one. Foreground. Show me triggers. That's a trigger. So is selected, mouse over, and is selection active. Is mouse over false? So this is resetting the value to the body. Why? And look at that, it's on cell, so this makes sense. So where is, I'm just not sure why we even changed this, right? So where is foreground? Is it being inherited? So I think the trigger is actually fixing it to go to the black. And I think the problem is probably actually coming in higher up. Well, let's look. Text element foreground. That's at the cell panel, because the cell panel has material design body all the way down. See, material design body is correct. Default style triggers triggering it to white. And it's not even using a theme brush. What is going on? Check recent commits started happening very recently. That's not a bad idea, since I'm pretty confident it's going to be in this file here. Let's see. So I just get cracking. You seem to have trouble remembering and keeping this in sync. So let's see. Oh, I don't have. I'm sorry. Turn my keyboard shortcuts on so people can see them. So Control P opens up the magical find all the things. We want to do the history of the file, data, grids, data grid, this one. I want the history of this file. So let's take a look. So that's just background on a border. That wouldn't have done it. This. So we're thinking maybe it started Monday when I merged this commit. So let's see. Before. Oh, this is interesting. So we fixed so this may have been a bug for even longer, because before there was a single multi-data trigger that was only on is selected and is selection active, and if those were both true, it would set the foreground to the body. Which I would argue setting the foreground to the body is the appropriate thing to do, right? This one also, so this one didn't necessarily, I mean, it changed it in that it added multiple extra conditions, right? And then it added the background setter, which is fine. But by making this trigger more restrictive, it's not setting that foreground as much as it used to. I'm still torn. So this one would have definitely done it. But I'm still wanting to know where that white is coming from. Right? Like, that is not... There's no way it's hard-coded in here. I can't imagine... Well, I shouldn't say that. There is a reasonable chance that I let that through. Alright, so these ones... Because these were other bugs. So here's my question, and maybe I'm missing something obvious, right? But I think, in all cases... I don't want this to do... Because this is a control that the material design spec doesn't have, because data grid is a WPF thing, right? So we kind of have a little bit of freedom to decide how should this thing behave. And so there's the question of, should this behave, should this be changing color at all? Let's check this, right? See, and on dark theme this is fine, and that's probably what happened, right? Is we were fixing dark theme and didn't account for the other one. Yeah, don't think it should, meaning the color should just remain, the foreground color should remain the same and shouldn't be getting toggled. Yeah, I agree. I agree, and it's fine in here. So, okay. I still want to know where that white is coming from. That's bothering me that I haven't found the white. So the fact that this is setting foreground to material design body. So one, we're just going to preemptively whack that. Right? And this should make it wrong all the time. Probably have to restart. I don't know if it'll pick up that change. So we're going to turn this trigger off on the foreground. Again, that was in there from before. Just so I'm not crazy, right? Right? Like, there's no white, there's no boom, 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 boom. Okay, so it's not like it's just hard-coded in here and I was stupid and missed it. Because in general, especially in a theming library, we should never have hard-coded colors. Okay. So something is inverting that still, and I don't know what it is. That's what's bothering me the most. Is I don't see where the heck that's happening. So let's just hunt foreground again. Let's see, because somebody is changing this. Oh, validation error template. This interests me that we have this, but come back to that in a moment. Foreground at the data grid level is set to body, which makes sense. With you so far. Validation template, don't care. We commented that one out. It's not this, is it? Column header. Is mouse over, what am I inside of here? Column header. No, that's these guys up here. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Okay, I gotta fire up Snoop again. I want to know. It's really bothering me that I can't find where this white is coming from. Nice part is now it's going to be a whole heck of a lot easier to just start walking up the food chain. Foreground. Telling me your foreground is black. There we go. Inherited. 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 I suppose we can probably jump up at least to the cell, because that's at least where we saw it before. Default style trigger. If I go above this, I can just about guarantee it's not there. Yeah. Default style trigger. Is there a... Oh. Oh. I wonder, are we extending or replacing the... No, we are absolutely 100% replacing this guy. Default style trigger. Okay, I gotta look, because I am confused. Let's see. Snoop. Default style trigger. Where? Show me the information, because I am not familiar. Default. Because let's check back on my window here, right? Value source default style trigger. So how about Snoop value source and something like that. Make the Bean Googles happy. English. Base value source. From the default style comes from the current theme. That's not a theme style. So it is saying that it's coming from a style trigger. Okay, I am very confused how that is possible right now. So let's look at background and border brush too, because this is confounding me. So background and border brush, right? Design body. And why do you think you are still changing? Okay, I'm full rebuild because I'm not convinced of anything anymore. That it seems like something is still triggering on this. and I'm very confused. I suppose the other thing I should check is I should check what the data grid's style is being set to. That's something else that it could be, I suppose. It could be that there is something else in the cell style. So that the one that I was picking on, let's see, not there. That one. Okay. Let's keep going. Where are we going? Rebuild success, relaunch. Boom. Let's see here. So grids. Okay, so, well, at least the convenient part is it's still reproducing for me. Thank you. And on the default style trigger, it's got to be that keyboard focus change. That's okay. So while I said I was in here, I was going to check the style of this guy, see what he's set to. Implicit style reference. So let's take a look here. The key is a data grid cell. Let's go here. Come on. Come on. Let's see. Combo editing style, resource. Text element. That shouldn't do anything. I can't imagine those styles would take that into account. This guy would, but only in specific situations. And this is happening on the entire row. So even on the ones that are just straight text, not just the combo boxes. So it's got to be text element foreground that's being toggled. Okay, so trial and error. Let's go back here to the foreground brush. So I'm fairly confident that if we do this, right? So is selected true, is selected false. This basically puts us back, though. Is this right or wrong? If we do this, actually, you know what we could, well, I guess it doesn't make sense. If I move this style property trigger up, oh, that's what's happening. Oh, I'm an idiot. This setter's being undone. So it's reverting it back. Oh. Oh. So I think the simple solution then here is, let's bounce off of here, right? Well, let's just search foreground. Yeah, so if we, I think that's the kicker, right? So if we turn this guy off, I believe what we want is effectively this, right? So ultimately we're going to bring down one of these triggers because we don't need them both. But that should, let's relaunch. I'm never sure how much to trust the edit and continue. And actually, let me look. I may not have it turned on since I installed the preview version. Let's see. Show me Xaml stuff. You go to the side for a second. Xaml designer. That's not what I'm looking for. Debugging. Yeah, enable Xaml hot reload. Apply Xaml hot reload on document save. I think that's what we want. When I save this, I want you to auto reload things. I want you to work. Okay. That's interesting. That concerns me. What the heck? Okay, now I have to believe there is some other trigger that's coming through on this guy and toggling it. And yeah, there is somebody else toggling this up on the data grid. So foreground, and I want to also watch is selected and is mouse over. So how about is selected is mouse over. Falling back to default. Style trigger. Why is that changing that way? I'm very tempted to just do this. Setter, property, foreground, value, dynamic resource, material design body. Alright, something like that. That's why, because when the triggers are no longer matched, it's unsetting the value, which is letting it go back to white, or white appearing. That's what's happening. So the question is, if we aren't going to set the foreground in these triggers, and these triggers are basically going to be identical, I think, what bug am I about to reintroduce by doing this? So it was largely done on this one, 1809. Background sale 1809. Let's go look and see before I get too carried away. I kind of want to retest some of these bugs. Let's see. 1809. Fix. Okay, so restores the data grid for background. Added condition to only set backgrounds when is mouse over is false. I guess I should have noticed the white there. Yeah. So what is the bug this is fixing? Let's see, data grid when using dark theme. Okay, so let's make, okay, so we've got pasty problems in dark theme was the original bug that we were fixing. So let's just toggle this over. I think this is fine. This doesn't bother me. Select the row. Yeah, so this is that. Okay, got it. Okay, so I think what we do is we don't need this multi-trigger anymore. We don't need the foreground setters, and then we don't need this trigger because it duplicates this one at this point. Confirm that this still works as desired. Does. Like theme. Works as desired. Combo box. Great. Dark mode. Combo box. Okay. Going to relaunch and test one more time, and then I'm going to call it reasonable. I think. Yeah, less is more. That is very true, and especially when it comes to triggers, you can certainly shoot yourself in the foot. This bothers me, though. We're going to come back to this in a minute, because that makes me think that I have merged something that should not be merged. So that's fair. That's fair. Boom, 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 boom. Okay. So let's start with what we're fixing. Let's go here. There. So we are fixing 1816. Come back over here, come back over here. Create branch, fix 1816. I tend to just name my branches with what I expect. So foreground explicitly set. This is definitely a change. And then clean up the bindings. We now only set, or actually, yeah. So about set foreground for cells. Fixes, and if we do pound 1816 here, GitHub will auto close for me. And we now only set the foreground. How about we no longer change the foreground on mouse over. Great. Stage all, great. There, boom, 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 push, submit, and then we'll just go make a quick pull request. There we are. I was going to say, where is it? Show it to me. And I get to submit a pull request, which hasn't happened a lot recently. Let's see, that's properly linked the issue, and we'll let that guy run. Okay. I think if this guy works as desired. Didn't I already close that one? Good. What do you think, Metal Slug? Kick or release? Turn 312 loose on the world and see how many people scream? I know there's been several people playing with it, and I think, let me go back here real quick. So I think what we're going to do is 320 is going to be the next one. Because according to Semver, we're about to add a bunch of stuff. So, create milestone. Pretty please. And I think what I'm going to do is cheat. We are going to cheat. So what are the open things in here? So this guy, is actually not that hard. Didn't we do this already? I'm going to check this because I think this is done. This may have been a dupe of something else. Because I thought this guy now had a overlay color. I could have sworn. Yeah, overlay background. This is done. Oh look, that got done and I just forgot to close the issue. Close. Perfect. So we aren't going to kick this guy out. Let's see, so this guy and this guy. Let's see, so we are going to move you guys. Somewhat tempted to unmilestone them. Doesn't make sense for me to just keep kicking them from thing to thing to thing. Okay, next up, well that guy's going because that's going to merge in here shortly. I need to, let's do DevOps stuff. Let's do DevOps. So this will be a demonstration of what I do every time I kick a release. So, sorry, 1 second while I get signed in. And then I will bring this guy over. This one, and I will be nice and change it to dark theme. Okay. Great. So here we go here. And we're going to let this guy, once this guy finishes doing its build and running the test, we're going to merge it. And let's start with genning up the release notes real quick. So I have a pretty little tool that I've written to do this. So on GitHub, if anybody's interested in how I've been doing this, there's a cheat sheet. So this is my repo, and that guy there has a bunch of stuff in it. But for anybody interested in what I'm doing, that is the tool I'm about to run. Where is my... Why am I not finding it? I know it's checked out. There. Reload, reload, reload. And it is worth noting, the code in question that I'm about to run is on a, I think it's called df helper branch, is what it is. Come on. Having my font so huge means it's hard to look at. So, ignore this. So the df helper is actually in relation to the system command line project that I've done on here several times. It basically lets you go through and write strongly typed main methods, but this is actually using the core level API on it, or at least a version of it. What you see here is a modified version of what they call Dragon Fruit. So it's not quite doing the strongly typed main, but it's building all this stuff up. So the key bit here though is, and before I pop that and show my API key like an idiot, let me just check and make sure I'm not about to show that. Yeah, it was about to show it. Oh, that's exciting. That is exciting. How do I hide this? Let me just set this up in my environment variables real quick. That way it doesn't get shown. So I need to move, let's see. And let's see. Access token and paste. Okay, and then more importantly, we can remove that one. Okay, now let's bring this guy back across. Come on. So hard to click on things. Okay, So the important part in all of this is this guy has things for like generate me a list of contributors. So if I invoke the command line and pass it contributors, you'll note it calls into here, and what it wants is a milestone. So if we go over to the properties here, we're going to do contributors, and you could also invoke this straight on the command line. Milestone 3.1.2. Right? I think that's the name of the milestone. Yeah, 312. And we go run it. And it gens me up a bunch of release notes. Unless you can't spell. Contributors. Boom. Try that one more time. You'll also notice it generates nice help output and that kind of thing. Oh, lovely. It could not find my environment variable because I added it after launching Visual Studio. Excellent. We're gonna try this one more time. I promise, this tool actually works. It's normally not this painful. But I gotta buy a little time while I wait for that build to complete anyway. So F5 again, and come on. Bring the window over. Go out, do your thing, find some stuff, gen me some release notes. Thinking. It'll just take it a moment. So ultimately, back over on here, we're going to pop this open. Boom, 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 boom. Right? So you guys won't be able to view this because it's still marked as a preview, but you'll note I've got a bunch of release notes kind of pre-typed up here. And the key part here is this bottom section with all of the wonderful people who have contributed. Gets auto-genned. And paste. So builds all of those up, converts all of those across. I haven't found a great way of detecting people who do testing on the release, but that is how that guy goes there. Save the draft, please. Okay, and the last one that we need to run is I need to know the pack icon changes. And this is something ultimately I want to script, right? Because I'm getting tired of running this myself, and pipelines are good at this, but for now, it's still like this. So you'll note the command in this case is diff, followed by icons, and then this guy down here wants to know the previous version and the current version. So it's basically going to look at two different NuGet packages and diff all the icons for me. So we'll do this. We'll change this to diff icons and see previous version previous version. There's a subtle thing that happens in how it names these. It converts it from Pascal case to I think I heard it called kebab case. So that's fun. Let's see. So the previous NuGet version that I want to check is 3.10, I think. What was the last release? Right, because we're about to do 3.12. No, 3.11. I should know this. Let's go here. Let's go here. Let's check the wiki, because there is a pack icon changes 3.11 to 3.12. And so the only thing that it's going to need now is a NuGet package to point at. So this worked. Squash merge. Boom. Go ahead and delete that branch. We don't need to keep it around. And I'm going to call that milestone done. Done. Okay, so normally I would wait for the nightly release, because you'll note it's queued all of these up, and it would ultimately kick this guy out. But we are not going to wait for that release. This guy should have. Oh, there's a build running now. now that we squash merge, the merge into master kicks off another build, and all of those builds there end up queuing right into here. At some point I need to change this tool to use the private NuGet feed that this guy has to pick up latest stuff, but this will work. So we will kick that over and that'll go. I am realizing I'm going to have to wait for a minute before I kick the release notes. Actually, no I don't. No I don't. As soon as it goes, I'll just because the yeah, this is better. Because on the release notes I've got the pack icon changes, but I can generate these at any point. So there's going to be some updates to this because I merged in another pack icon change just like an hour ago. So those aren't reflected in here. So those guys there, full list of changes here. All of these links are good. I think this will work. So we are just going to let the DevOps pipeline do its thing, and then we will attach the appropriate bits to the release, and then we will kick it loose. So I'm going to leave that there as a reminder to me, because the only thing that this is missing is the binaries that get attached. So this should be good, and I'm just going to wait for this build to finish and then the appropriate release, and I'm just going to click all the buttons and away we go, which will work. Okay, so while that's thinking about being helpful, this was the other thing I wanted to look at. So let's go 1808, because this was the other one. So let's see, pull up on that, switch, and I don't need this branch anymore, go away, and think 1808. Yeah, this guy. So we're going to take a quick look at this guy and see what we can do about this. Because I do like, I like the idea of this, and it feels like we just need to solve a theming brush problem. So we are going to see where this lands me. Okay, so I believe, oh, that's right. Hold on, forgot about that. Got so excited about kicking a release, I forgot to go back and look at that text box bit. I want to make sure that's not a bug, because if we do actually have an issue there, once again, should probably fix it. Yeah, see, this is what, let's see, fields, right? So this is going to be, see, that works and that works. Why do those ones work and this one not? I know we recently added a helper text background color, and I'm guessing that's the change that's probably causing this, but I'm a little shocked that my other sample ones work just fine, but this one doesn't. So this guy here. So something about helper, or no, is it hint assist? Hint assist background transparent. Well, that'll do it, right? Because if I change this to red, I mean, then it's blocking. So that's picking up transparent. Why? That makes me a little concerned that we've missed a default case somewhere. So main window, drawer host, left drawer text box. So this guy hasn't set anything special, which makes me concerned that our text box style doesn't appropriately default that. So how about we do hint assist background. I don't have. Are you going to be hip enough to find my Xaml references? No, that would be too nice. So, int. Why am I doing this on my other screen? Bring this across. Int assist background. So I am wondering if we've got a bug. Int assist background transparent. That's what's doing it. I think we need to change this. And I think so I think the transparent is fine. However, I think if this is true, it should probably have a condition, right? And I believe there's, yeah, because our text box style is not exactly for the faint of heart. There's a lot in here. What are you squawking about? Oh, boo-hoo. You're fine. I don't know why it's decided it can't find it. But this has outline text field, right? So if it has this outline text field set to true, I think what we want to do is set it here. Because if you're going to have an outline, well, I guess it's actually has an outline and is floating. Actually, this might be pretty close here. Because it's only if there's a floating hint with an outline that we care. That's true. I think that's true. So, okay, so that explains that. But the one thing I have not answered is why the ones in the other page work. So let's look at text fields down here. Oh, is it still called fields? It is. Should probably rename that at some point. So, int assist foreground. Where are you? Is there a somebody explicitly setting it? That would be bad. Int assist. No one's setting it. Okay, I want to pull the demo up app real quick again and just look, because it still bothers me that it's failing here, right? And it's transparent, which makes sense, right? But I'm a little confused as to how Hey there, Summit. How you doing? I'm just trying to figure out. We're very close. I'm trying to kick the material design and XAML release out the door, and I need to stop looking so closely because I keep finding bugs. Let's see, outline fields. Let's find outline fields. Outline fields. Okay, so it's these guys here. So this, that's how these ones are getting away with it, isn't it? Well, so hold on. Floating hint has filled text box, underline corner radius. This guy sets here. This guy sets here. There's nothing setting the background. This goes to the base, which is here, which sets background to transparent. Okay, I'm confused now. How the heck is transparent? No, somebody's changing this. Somebody's setting hint assist background. There is another trigger in here somewhere. Let's see. Is floating true? So hint assist background border, property background, goes and picks it up. That's fine, but who changes it off of? Ah ha ha. That's the guy. And I think we don't want this setter here. All right, I want to move this in and do this setter on a condition anytime somebody sets has outline text field to true. I don't want to necessarily rely on somebody needing to use this derived one. Okay, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. So I am glad I caught that. And I've already forgotten my property. Has outline text field. Show me the things. Has outline text field true. Boom. I think that's what we want. That should fix it in both places. That should fix it in both places. Let's see here. I'm wondering if I should be targeting a specific element rather than just setting it on the style. Nah, we'll let it flow through. I'm wondering if that's a problem for inheritance. There, that looks better. That looks better. There we go. There we go. Okay. I don't think that's as big of a problem. Let's see. Ensuring floating hint background gets set if there is an outline. Yeah. So commit changes, and I'm going to just abuse the fact that I can push to master. Should have pulled a request, but nah. Don't really feel like waiting. Okay. So going back to this. Going back to the filter chips. Okay. And once again, I now have to wait on DevOps because I queued all the things. Yeah, you'll notice the other build eventually made it through, but I now want one more build to make it out the door. Is that wow in relation to me just pushing straight into master? Because I do agree, you should generally never do that. Trust your CI systems. And then hope that Visual Studio apparently is just going to die on me. Okay. I accept Visual Studio is just gonna die. Okay, what are you doing, Visual Studio? You're doing something, but not the something I want. Oh, it may be recovering, relaunching itself. It's going into the right project. That's a good sign. Okay. There we go. I think we're okay. Nothing's broken. Okay, so back to the problem at hand. So this next pull request here, right, is this is one of those features that I really like with these filter chips. But there's a theming problem, right? And we talked about it last week, Monday, whatever day I was doing this last. There was a day I was working on basically the same type of stuff. Go ahead and fire up. Oh, we're already launched. So I believe if we go chips, right, we can look here. And this guy now has a bunch. And these look great, right? I like these. They're pretty. They've got the nice outline. It's kind of nice. Okay? Like that's what we're going for. That's how it should be. There's There's the example of using them inside of a list box, which is also nice. Same sort of theming thing, right? Like you've got the default grayscale one, and then you've got the actually, I'm going to kill this. I'm noticing my OBS is yelling at me, so I'm going to stop streaming to myself and see if that helps. So you've got the regular gray one, or you've got things that tie into your color theme, right? Oh, this isn't based on the latest. We'll just flip, right? Tempted to just rebase it, but we're just going to flip real quick. Go to dark. Go back. It'd be really nice if it just auto-selected that text for me, right? And so this is where we start getting into the problem, right? Is inside of here, once you go into dark theme, let's see, is all of the design made using Xaml from scratch? So the answer is yes. All of these themes are effectively built from the ground up in Xaml. The Google's material design is the guiding principle theme, but unfortunately Google's material design doesn't account for all of the stuff in WPF, and vice versa, right? Like this control exists in Google's material design, but doesn't exist here, right? So it's really hidden, and I kind of want to make this button a lot more obvious. But down here you can see if you want this style, you use a WPF checkbox and you apply this style to it. Material design, filter chip, primary outline checkbox, right? And I assume this is going to be the non-obvious one, right? So drop the word outline and you get this one. So, but the issue is, especially on these ones, and to some degree the secondary one as well, right, is because the background color is able to show through, what looks good in one theme doesn't look good in another, which is really kind of the problem. So we would like to change these colors appropriately, but the question is how? And so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with Snoop, and I'm just going to play with the colors directly, because I think part of the issue is some of the opacity stuff, but I don't know if that's fully true. Like, I don't think that's the whole story. So I've got this text box here. You, sit to the side. Sit, stay. Good boy. Did I leave? I did not leave Zoom It running. So let's turn Zoom It back on. Because if we turn Zoom It on, right, because ultimately seeing that much dark come through the background, I think, is part of what's biting us. So let's back up here, and I want to look at background and foreground. All right, so the foreground is getting the mid hue brush, right, or I should say the primary hue dark brush. Misspoke there. Right, so that's this guy here, and then let's find, that's the icon. I'm guessing it's the full grid that has a background set. Nope, Checkbox has the background set. So, and then the background color is the light brush, and I'm guessing, if I look, there's some opacity set somewhere. Somebody's somewhat transparent, and I don't necessarily know who it is. Right, and that guy, FF, opaque, FF, opaque. It's interesting. I sort of expected to see a little more opacity somewhere in here. I didn't expect these colors to look so poor, just straight up on there. That's interesting to me. Let's just drill all the way through this. I'm watching this opacity value here, because I'm trying to see if there is I'm wondering if there is any value in, so there's the dark value. I'm just gonna real quick open a, nope, that's not how you spell notepad. Poor man's clipboard, right? So I'm gonna put, so this is gonna be the dark value. So I think I just want to muck with some of these RGB codes for a minute. I suppose I could have grabbed them both here. Right, so here's our light value. And I'm sort of wondering if part of the problem here, I can go back and look at the material design spec, but I'm wondering if these colors perhaps should be inverted. Right, so if I take foreground, put it there, I take the dark background, put it there. Let's move that red. I don't know if that really makes it better, right? It feels like there is a, oh, interesting. Hold up, something's weird here. There is some opacity that's changing. This guy had an opacity change. Whoa. Let's go look at these checkbox styles. So checkbox. Wow. Typing skill goes down late at night. That one. .xaml. Okay, so specifically, the one I'm interested in is this guy. So I want that name. Boom. Yeah. Need more Mountain Dew. Amen. I've got a quarter of a can left. So I've got a quarter of a can worth of energy. Okay, so let's see. So this is just setting up those colors. Let me look. I'm kind of looking to see if there is an opacity thing or a trigger on opacity that is doing it. Because I know there was some discussion on the related issue for this of what we should do and how. Visual transition, easy mode. We have a, okay. Let's see, yeah, so this guy, mouse over border, selected background border, selected background. Okay, so the reason I'm not seeing it in Snoop is because I need to be on this, right? That is what is doing it. Hey, thanks, Ian. Yeah, doing my best. I've been really fortunate in this whole COVID virus thing. My area hasn't been hit very hard at all. It's been actually fairly benign where I'm at. So we've been a lot more blessed than a lot of areas in the world. Okay, so that is toggling up. I kind of wonder what happens if I just do that. Oh, I can't do that. So let's go 0 to 1. Right? I just want all the way on. Let's just turn these things all the way to on. See what that does. Obviously, that's probably not going to get us quite where we want. Yeah, I'm very much not trusting my edit and continue right now. And I'm kind of wondering if it's, I might need to compare the settings that I have on my other Visual Studio, or I might just flip back to it. I can't decide. The other one has ReSharper set up on it though, which is both a blessing and a curse. It's wonderful for finding bugs, kind of obnoxious. Okay, so we're going to ignore this guy for the moment because clearly that is too dark. Probably, right? That's interesting. I'm surprised that the light hue is that. I want to check this because that, I thought there was a bigger contrast between the light and the dark. Yeah, something is it actually using a mid somewhere? Let's go back down and look at this guy real quick, because I could have sworn dark and light brush. Okay. Yeah, so it's overriding the foreground and the background, and the selected color. So selected background is what we just played with. Let's see, selected background gets the binding of background. Okay. Maybe that is the full thing. Right, and that is the secondary color scheme, as weird and as ugly as it appears, right? Because, let's look here, right? Because that is dark to light. I am wondering if the dark should be the background with the light on the foreground. All right, so let's go. Let's just invert these real quick. Let's see, so let's go. We'll do light here, dark here. I'm sure this is going against something in the spec, but light, dark. All right, prove to me you aren't auto-updating. Boom, boom, boom. Reload. Yeah, you aren't auto-updating. Okay, let's see here. Okay, so back. Nope, I can't use my mouse. It's getting late enough, it's starting to become amateur hour. Okay. Aside from looking dumb, I think, though, this fixes the... I might have to just rebase this, because this is going to get obnoxious going back and forth. Because I kind of want those latest changes. Aside from looking dumb, it actually works. But it looks dumb, which is not a good sign. There's also that issue there, right? So on light mode it's darkening it out, and on dark mode it's whitening it out. Okay, so let's go back. There were 2 changes that got made, but I'm wondering if now, rather than, let's go into my diff, boom, and we're going to stash, and I want to rebase you on master because I just can't take it not having my changes anymore. Skip commit. Boom, and then pop stash. Perfect. Now we got all the latest changes. That's what we wanted. Okay, so let's take a quick look here. Discard. So I'm wondering if perhaps the better solution is to bump this up significantly, right? Change that. Let's see. Change that. Right? Because I don't disagree with the idea that that our inversion of colors down here is probably wrong, but we do have a value converter, sitting off hidden in a branch, right, that can detect whether the background or the foreground is lighter. So we can take advantage of that to figure out which one should be the foreground and the background, right? Wow. Okay, so let's look at that in dark mode. So I think if we only do the color swap in dark mode, and we rev the opacity, maybe not quite as high as we have, but I'm thinking, just thinking, that might be good enough, right? Because you'll note I only changed these two to invert them, and you'll note these ones look pretty good in dark mode, at least I think they do, and these ones look pretty bad in dark mode, right? Because the colors are effectively inverted across. But if we come over to light mode, I would argue that these ones down here with the outline look better than these ones up here. So I think a reasonable compromise is probably to leverage that value converter to determine which color is darker, I think. Or maybe not even that, right? I think just in dark mode, we just invert which guy goes foreground and which one goes background. I think that's what we do, right? I'm thinking we can leverage an attached property on this guy. I'm just trying to decide what the inputs are for it. Okay, so let's go get our converter first of all. So I need to go find it. Let's see here. Material design in Xaml. This guy here, and where did I put it? Where did I put it? I put it in a pull request. Back out on the issue. So, sorry, while I'm sitting here, let's just check the release. 10:07, release is good. So, we're going to kick a couple things. So if we click in here, my release pipeline, because we have, let's just go here. Because we have both the main library, the colors library, and the MAApps one, each of these ones gets deployed separately. So I'm just going to preemptively deploy the nightlies. Those will go out to NuGet.org as pre-releases. And then once these are done, which shouldn't take it but more than a few moments, we'll just actually publish the release and be done with it. Huzzah! And then away it goes. Typically at NuGet.org they warn you that it can take up to like an hour before it actually shows up for people. So just be aware of that. So when I click the button, I usually just assume that there's an hour left out there. Plus both of these NuGets pretty much have to go together. You can kind of rev them independently, but in most cases you probably shouldn't. At some point I've got ideas of merging them, because it's nice that we could rev these independently, but we almost never do, and the pipelines pretty much ensure that. So we'll let this one go because I kind of want the colors one to technically go first. So those are done. You'll note these releases always wait for approval. Waiting, waiting, waiting. Come on. Give me the approval button. Give me the approval button. Come on. That guy gave me the approval button. refresh. I think the JavaScript is just missing the fact that I have approval rights. There we go. Okay, colors are approved. Release rolling. Full release approved. Release rolling. Woot, 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 woot. Okay, so let's go and grab, we got to go grab some artifacts real quick. So this guy here, let's see, 312, this guy here, and I need some of his artifacts. So in particular, I want the demo app. Oop, I want the whole thing, not just the little one. Delete that one. Give me both. Give me both. Okay, so we got that guy, which is what we need, and then the last thing we need is all of these NuGet packages, which, because we just finished publishing them, when these things publish out, they actually publish to two sources. They publish to my internal feed as well as out to NuGet.org. The convenient part is by publishing to my internal feed, it means I don't have to go looking for them elsewhere. So download artifacts. I have no idea why that's taking a while. Oh, that's not a good sign. 503. Azure, are you having problems? Please don't have problems. Please just work. It would be great to show this off working. Okay, we'll let you think about what you've done. That guy's now making progress, so that makes me feel better. Okay, so we were off hunting for, oh, this is material design examples. That's not what I want. I want a fork. Because this guy here, I believe, has what I'm looking for. Let's see, remove alpha chip. Is that really what I'm after? It just shows 12 commits ahead, and that's what interests me. Flipping colors based on theme. So this is the converter I want. Yeah, this guy. Because he has the ability to take in a color, whether a solid color brush or a fixed color, and tell us, is it dark? Right? So is this a dark color? Yes or no? Right? And the definition of is a dark color is, would white be a good contrasting foreground, or would black? That's its check, right? So I think I just want this. So ooh, not all of that. Just this. Just this. So is dark converter. You think about what you've done. Oh, you published. Huzzah. I'm going to add this real quick, and then I'll go grab what I need. So down here, converters, add new class is dark converter. Paste. Something like that. So we'll come back to this in just a moment. So now that this release went out the door, I can come over here, and I should be able to do material design themes 132, or I'm sorry, 312. So I want the NuGet package for that guy. I published colors. I want the NuGet package for that guy. And then we come over to edit release and attach binaries, which looks kind of like, let's fix the name of this guy real quick. That. Open. And upload those. And away we go. So that'll kick that off and get that uploaded, and we'll have a new release out the door. And then do all the tweety things and notify all the peoples and all of that jazz. So the only reason why I publish my releases out here as well is because I find it's incredibly convenient to be able to just download straight from here. Hold on, I'm questioning whether I got the right nougaty versions. 312. Did I download this one? I'm questioning which one I downloaded. So we're just going to grab each of these again real quick because back. Okay, and colors. Boy, it is making me think I got the right ones. 125. Yeah, 125, 312. Yeah, so that's right. Okay. So appropriate NuGet package, publish release. Boom! Release published. All the stuff is here. Appropriate tag created in the GitHubbies. Release is live. So if there are bugs, I am sure I will hear about them shortly, and we will get them fixed. But that is roughly my process of publishing releases. So I'm hoping to script more of it so that I can do, ideally I'd like to get it down to 2 clicks. I should have to click the approve button twice. Cool. Yeah, Metal Slug, let me know if there's issues. Like I said, I'm trying to get us in the habit of publishing faster. That way it's a little bit less costly if a bug gets introduced rather than letting things sit forever. So, and I'm trying to keep up with the pull requests that everybody's submitting. So thank you everybody for submitting pull requests. I do appreciate it. I just don't always have enough time to review them. I try to allocate, somewhere between 6 and 10 hours a week to this. Don't always get it, but I try. Okay, so back into here, right? So the question is, I would like to use this converter to know if I should flip these, right? And I think I do it up here rather than down in the base. Yeah, I think I do it here because that means if somebody wants to bypass this trigger, all they do is bypass the style and go straight to the base and do whatever they want. I think that makes the most sense. So we're going to do something like style triggers, right? Let's see, data trigger, binding, relative source self, and then specifically, I'm trying to decide, do I point it? Do I look at the background or the foreground? Let's do foreground, I think. The only reason why I'm somewhat hesitating is I kind of wonder if this thing is going to actually trigger appropriately. No, we don't do either of these. We base it upon material design paper. Yes, because I don't care about my theme colors. I want to invert my theme colors, but only when the paper value is different. Yeah. The problem being there's not a great way to do. Well, in the interest of speed and testing this theory, right? Setter, property, we'll just leverage the tag, value, dynamic resource, material design, paper. All right, so we'll set that there. Bind to self, bind to the tag, right? And then we'll apply the converter, which I have not included yet. So let's go include it. Up to the top. Why is that in a separate resource dictionary? It doesn't need to be in a separate resource dictionary. So let's see. Converters is dark converter. I do not know why it is struggling so much to figure out resource dictionaries. It could be something in the preview version of Visual Studio, but the preview version was supposed to be better. Okay, back down. So we bind here, Static resource is dark. So, and then we'll trigger on value of true, right? So, if if the background color is dark, we're going to invert these. And I believe these are already inverted from where they were, right? Yeah. So ultimately, these guys are exactly what we want in dark mode. But in light mode, dark, light. Yeah, let's give it a shot. There were build errors. There are no build errors. What is your problem? Brush round converter. What is your, wait, what? Oh, because these guys are, that's why they were in a resource. I get it, because it's inside of a merged one. Let's just pull them outside of the merged dictionary. Put them right at the root. Because these are technically things that are kind of exposed. If we wanted to hide them, we could embed them inside of the other styles and whatnot. Burying them inside of the merged dictionaries doesn't really hide them. It just puts them one layer deeper. So, okay, so let's look at this, right? So our secondary one is interesting. Let's go dark mode. It feels like the secondary one's been botched. Did I mess something up? Let's go back here and look. What are all my changes? Let's go back to this. This. This guy. Oh, the accent one is not leveraging it. So we want to do this same thing on the accent. 589. Okay, let's do that. Let's do that down here real quick. Let's see, 589. So these ones are backwards. Let's grab this thing here. Paste it there. And let's see. This is the same. These are the inverted brushes that we think look better in dark mode. But these should be dark and light for the other one. Let's try this. Again, this is only changing the ones that don't have the outline, so just be aware of that. And there may be some, like the outline and the non-outline one, it looks like there's a lot of potentially duplicated Xaml. Not saying that we should always fix that, but it'd be nice to at least look and see if there's some consolidation there. But, okay, so that doesn't look bad to me. Right? And then if we do this, I mean, compared to these ones down here, I think this looks a lot better. That could just be me. Feedback, thoughts? Dark mode, do you like the top or the bottom row? I'm not saying that these are the only two choices, but if you had these filter chips and they automatically did these with your color theme, would that be acceptable? I mean, obviously you can always pick a color theme that sucks, and you shouldn't do that because that would be bad. But I kind of like this auto toggly bit, right? Where it inverts what's the foreground and the background based upon if you're in dark mode, right? Because dark mode is, like, we have a pre-canned dark and a pre-canned light thing, but it's not. But anyone can customize any of those brushes, right? You could go and have a dark mode where you have a white brush. I wouldn't recommend it, but you could do it. Kind of think I like this. I'm a little surprised that so the unselected one in dark mode is using how is it knowing the difference there? I'm just surprised that in unselected in light mode it is using the dark and the light, right? But in dark mode it's still using the color theme. How does it? Yeah. What? I'm very confused by this. Okay, so let's jump here. I'm actually surprised. Sorry, Karnak didn't show the function button, and I'm not horribly surprised, but sorry, I'm just going to check it real quick to see if there is. Apparently dragging the window is a hard thing to do. Got it. So there are, it's not going to pick it up unless I do like Control F12 or something. Okay, got it. So this guy comes in here. I'm just very surprised that I see that changed. Is check false. Uses body and chip background. Right? So that's not body. I've broken something. Right? Because if is checked as false, it's supposed to go back to material design body, which in dark mode should have been that. So where are you getting your color from? Oh, probably because my new trigger is overriding the old trigger. This trigger gets to go last, which means he gets to win, which means he's overriding the foreground here. Okay, so this guy here, I think what we do is we trying to decide what's cleaner, right? I suppose we may, so the choices, right? I make this guy smarter and make him a multi-data trigger so that he has some concept about is checked and knows to only do this when is checked is false. That'd be one option. Another option is rather than having this setter set properties directly on the checkbox itself, I could have it set them on the templated elements. Right? So it would then flow in here a little differently. The only problem with that is then things get a little weird and it gets harder to override things. I think multi-data trigger is probably where I'm leaning. Let's do multi-data trigger. So multi-data trigger, boom. Let's see, multi-data trigger conditions, boom, boom. Condition, and if I just pin that, the condition should be that. Hey, stop, don't help me. Thank you. So condition, binding, relative source self, and this is going to be is checked. Let's see, that's fine. Compare with value true and only apply in that situation. Alright, so that's fine, that's fine. So we've made you a little bit smarter. Boom. And so that should let it undo appropriately. So bring this guy up, paste him here, grab this guy, boom. Set that there. That should fix that fallback. I think I'm going to push this and then sit on it for a little bit. I'm not 100% sold yet, but I'm liking this a lot more, and I do really want to get these chips in. Yeah, so that now properly falls back. Dark mode. Yeah, I think I like this better. Right? Rather than this, get this. I think I like it. Can't really decide. But I do think I like this a lot better. Right? Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We don't want to use the tag property because somebody else could be setting that. And so the question is what to use instead. What to use instead. So I'm thinking an attached property, and I'm thinking it probably lives on the theme assist class. I suppose I make it public, right? I just don't. I'm not sure I like that fully. Right, so let's see. What is it? Prop attached. Yeah. So I think we're gonna do brush. Get what do we call something like this? Because I'd like it to be usable elsewhere. Theme assist. And this is why I'm wondering if I make it internal. I just, somebody may want to play with it, but I don't like trigger color. I don't like tying it to the word background because we may end up using it for foreground in other places, right? Yeah, apparently I botched all of my. Let's see. Default of null. Let's go ahead and clean that up. Yeah, I understand. You're unhappy. You're unhappy. But I'm pretty sure you had the wrong brush anyway, so yeah. Boom, 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 boom. And I think, unless, again, my default setting is if I'm not happy with the API, I make it internal. And then I don't have to worry about changing it later, right? Because now it's something that only I get to play with for now until people convince me otherwise. So this becomes theme assist, trigger color, and actually just realizing trigger color is a horrible name when it's called brush. Let's see. Thanks. Okay, trigger brush, and boom. Oh, come on. Do you have the, there we go. That's what we want. So we're going to set it there. We're going to set it there. Rather than tag, we got to do something fancier with like WPF, theme assist, trigger brush. Alright, so that's going to move that guy down, bring this guy, bring him down, and then just replace that condition. There, right? So that works, that works, that works. Something akin to that. Let's fire this up and make sure it still plays nice. I think this gets us, again, I don't like the trigger brush name. Grumble, 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 grumble. There needs to be a cleaner solution. I just don't know what it is. Maybe after a nice night's sleep. Okay, so that's fine. Seems to work. That does not seem to work. Huh? Right? Because these colors should be inverted from each other, and they are not. These ones should be inverted, and they are not. It's also interesting to me, I must have changed something because those colors don't quite look the same to me anymore. That looks right. So the simple check, right, is just get out of here, jump back, check my isDark converter, right, verify that he's actually firing, and chips. Yeah, he's not actually firing. So that'll do it. Are these things needing explicit path set on them? Let's see. Because I remember that binding to attach properties is weird. That can't be right because we're already inside of the quotes, right? I wonder if they need an explicit path defined. If it's getting confused because of the parens. Should have just checked. I didn't look, but there may have been binding errors. That would have been another dead giveaway too. Oh, that's a better sign. It's already firing. Okay. Fire up. Chips. Alright, so there's that. Dark theme. That's better. Now those are inverted. Okay, that looks better. So lesson learned, need to do explicit path on those. Okay. And then let's do the other one, right? So we're going to come down here. So this has border brush set to mid. I don't think we care about changing the border. We just want to invert background to dark, foreground to light. Right, and I think we come back up here and grab this. Again, foreground to light versus foreground to dark. And this should fix the outline ones as well. We aren't going to muck with the border brush, which is going to be the middle of the ground anyway. So I think this will get going. I just realized that I said on the Gitter chat earlier that I was going to answer questions, and I completely spaced doing that. So I do apologize. I will plan on getting to those hopefully in the morning. It does interest me that these are that these appear as different colors. I might want to look at that a little more, because these also appear a little different. I'm not sure if that's a difference in the theme. Maybe there's an opacity difference between these. Seems like these ones should match, especially with my diff being this guy here. But let's flip it over to dark. Yeah, so these guys flip. Again, I'm not a... Might want to look and see how these ones are getting their brushes and why they look a little different, but ultimately I think I like this better. I think it looks a little cleaner and lets us get away with some cheater stuff. So we're going to push this. So new converter. This converter is currently internal, so if you find a use for this and you want it public, let me know. You can always copy it into your own project as well. It's just until I'm not sure if I like the is dark, if that's really clear enough. But I can be persuaded to add it. Let's see here. So we pulled our converters out. We added our setter and our trigger on all 4 of the styles. Great. Theme assist, we added an internal attached property. So not necessarily public. Let's see. Flipping foreground and background when theme is dark. Dark background. Commit change. And this is going to need to be a force push because we rebased. Oh. I do not have force push permissions. That is a problem. So we're going to change where this is located. But it means that I would have to open a different pull request. Let's do this. I'll put it up here and then I'll go leave a comment. Right? So let's do this. Let's grab that branch. Hey, where'd it go? Where did I push it to? Oh, I didn't push it. No, it should be there. Am I crazy? GitHub. Show me all my branches. Pull requests. Yeah, Kraken claims it pushed somewhere. Oh, but it's not there now. Okay, set upstream. Oh, you set the upstream and it lies to you. If I do a fetch origin, yeah, then it goes away. Oh, that's a fun bug. That is a fun bug. Push. Now it should be there. Let's try this. Let's try this one more time. So go here, and I should be able. Hey, look, there's another branch. There we go. Let's see. I rebased it and added in a check to flip the foreground and background colors. Fortunately, looks like I don't have push permission back into the branch. So I pushed it here. Boom. Because there is a checkbox on GitHub to block contributor push permissions. So I'm guessing that box was unchecked. I think it defaults to check and it remembers your setting or something. So not a big deal. It just makes it a little weird. So I want to look a little more into it, but it is looking very promising. Boom. I think, just in the interest of indicating how promising, going in there. Oh, we need to close that. We need to close that other milestone. This guy is now out, closed. Poof. There it is. Release is live. Stuff is closed. Stuff is merged. And it is 11 o'clock. So I think with that, I am probably going to wrap up for the night. As always, if people find bugs, issues, hit me up on GitHub. You can find me on Twitter. Obviously, you found me on Twitch and or YouTube if you're watching this. So with that, I will say good night. Thank you very much for everyone who came and participated, and happy coding.